New details on the shooting involving the wife of Weezer's bassist, Coachella is called Literal Hell, and I read your reactions to the new Ghost song. All that on this week's episode of
The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Jesse Lee Show.
Hey, it's me, Jesse Lee, and welcome to the show. Thank you for choosing to waste some time with me today. Also, special thank you to Michael Stoutenger. As you might have noticed, we have an official theme song for the show now. I am no longer Wayne's Worlding it anymore.
Party on, Garth. It's Wayne's World.
I actually have a real song now, so thank you, Michael. I will continue to mime it. I will continue to pretend to play guitar and pretend to sing it because I still think that's fun. But yeah, it's real music now. So thanks, Michael, and I hope you dig it. Maybe we'll have some more music coming at some point. If you're new around here, please find the subscribe button on YouTube and bang your head on that subscribe button. Find the follow button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and bang your head on that follow button, okay? It does not count. If you simply tap these buttons, you must bang your head on them to fully sign up for regular updates and notifications from The Jesse Lee Show. Also, one more little bit of housekeeping. Please be sure to leave 5 stars on Spotify, the little rating. That helps the show out a lot. Your music news daddy had a few margaritas yesterday. A few too many. I am feeling not awesome. So this might be a short episode. I don't know. It might be a super long episode. We won't know until we get into it, right? But I'm going to try to keep things rolling here. This story, our lead story today, the wife of Weezer's bassist was shot by cops. Now, the logical joke here is to play the clip from Buddy Holly, What's With These Homies, Dissing My Girl, which is what I did when I covered this story initially on TikTok and Instagram. Got some comments that said that it was unnecessary. Come on. That's such a mild-mannered little joke, and it's pretty surface level too, What's with these homies, dissing my girl? I don't think it was something to get upset about, but a couple people in the comments did not like that joke. But yeah, so anyway, according to the Los Angeles Police Department, on last Tuesday afternoon, Highway Patrol is on a manhunt for 3 hit-and-run suspects who fled into her neighborhood. And this part of the story sort of gets glossed over a little bit because the real, attention-grabbing, clickbaity part of the story is obviously the wife of Weezer's bassist is involved in this. But the suspect fled on foot, and he was wearing a sweater, which right away, that's, ties in with Weezer a little bit, sweater song. I don't know if anyone was pulling his thread as he was running away. But then he stripped off his sweater, stripped down to his underwear, and the suspect in this neighborhood was attempting to try to blend in with the neighborhood. So he stripped down to his underwear and started doing some gardening. Just some light gardening. A few potted plants, maybe. Just, I don't know, maybe sprinkle some Miracle Grow on the ground. And then he jumped into somebody's pool. He went swimming. Because that nothing says, you're being nonchalant, like, jumping into a neighbor's pool and swimming around, doing a few laps, getting a couple strokes in. So this guy was really trying to evade police. And he might have gotten away with it too. But they followed him into the backyard. And that's when they found the police found in the neighboring yard was a best-selling author, Jillian Lauren Schreiner, who is also the wife of Weezer's bassist, Scott Schreiner. So officers say that Jillian came out of the house armed with a handgun, and she was allegedly told multiple times to put the gun down, which she did not. So they opened fire on her, and they actually shot her, and she retreated back into the house. And then she came out a few moments later and surrendered. And she was arrested and charged with attempted murder. And then she was taken to a hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. So yeah, she went inside with her babysitter. I don't know why she has a babysitter. She's an adult person, I believe. I don't know why no, of course she has kids, I'm assuming, right? She has children involved. So right away, that makes me feel really bad that there were kids involved in this whole situation. Now, the really weird part about this is, why is she being charged with attempted murder? I mean, first of all, there's a lot of weird parts about this story that don't make any sense. Why she came out with the gun in the first place is kind of confusing. But I guess if you saw somebody in your backyard who had, just stripped down to their underwear, you just saw them do a few laps in the neighbor's pool, and police are after them, maybe you're concerned for your own safety, so you come out armed, ready to defend yourself. I get that. Where it gets, a little bit shaky is when the police claim that they asked her to put the gun down multiple times and she did not, which if, a bunch of police are telling you not to, or telling you to put your gun down and you don't, I don't know how that's going to end up very, good for you in the end. As I mentioned, Jillian is a best-selling author. She's written some true crime books, so she's been in that world for quite a while. So maybe she has kind of a sordid history with law enforcement. So she's already a little bit standoffish, no pun intended, when it comes to dealing with the police. But for whatever reason, after they arrested her, still it doesn't seem like that would be a reason to charge her with attempted murder. But then new details came out. Then updated statement on Thursday, the LAPD said the investigation found evidence such as shell casing and video footage, which showed Schreiner repeatedly ignoring police commands and then fired her weapon at the officer. So they're saying that she actually fired her weapon. Again, we haven't seen the video of this to confirm this is true or not. This is at this point just alleged. This is just a police report. So we don't know exactly why she was out there with the gun or if she even did fire at the police. All we know is that she was struck by police, taken to the hospital, treated for non-life-threatening wounds, and then charged with attempted murder. And she's due back in court on April 30th. She was released from jail less than 12 hours later, I believe, on a $1 million bond. So which is pretty wild, $1 million bond. I feel like the average person, if they get in a standoff with the police, they're not getting out of jail 12 hours later on any bond. But obviously, she is a high-profile case, so she was released. So after all these news reports came out about Jillian and the situation, people were doing digging on her social media, of course, and then found out she posted just a few weeks ago that she had just gotten out of surgery, recovering from cancer. So who knows what kind of personal issues she has going on in her life at the moment. We know that she had a babysitter in the house, so she had children there. I know that they did adopt one child back in 2009. I don't know what their current child situation is, but apparently kids young enough that they have a babysitter. So who knows what all went into this, like why she felt the need to, bring the gun outside in the first place. But it's just a crazy story. So hopefully Jillian releases some sort of statement at some point to kind of give her side of the story. Because right now, all we're going on is the police report. And obviously this police report does not look good. It does not paint her in a good picture or anything. So hopefully we get some kind of statement from her at some point to kind of get her side of the story. TMZ did catch up with Scott Schreiner when he was on a walk with his dogs, which, first of all, man, it sucks to have to go through this whole situation at all. I mean, this whole traumatic situation is just awful to deal with, baseline. But then, you got to deal with TMZ showing up when you're on a walk with your two or three cute dogs here. I mean, that's a bummer. And also, another side note, the people that were involved in the original suspects, the hit and run suspects, what a wild twist this story has taken from them. They were already having a pretty crazy day. They were already involved in a hit and run and then being chased by police. That's usually enough to be a noteworthy bookmark in your year. Now they've possibly ended up as inspiration for the next Weezer single. Like, who knows? So that's a pretty crazy twist of events for them. Anyway, back to TMZ catching up to Scott Schreiner while he's walking his dogs.
I'm great. I know it must be a tough time for you today.
Oh, we're all right. Look at us.
You are?
Yeah, we're all right. Look at us. We're on a walk. Got my dogs. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
How's your wife doing? I know a lot of people are concerned.
Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah, she's all right. Why? Why would you be concerned? What have you heard?
Thank you for asking. Morning, Stephen.
Are you
What's up,
upset?
Tuxedo?
Are you upset by any chance the way that the police handled the situation?
Also, the neighbors just have to deal with TMZ showing up on their street now, following around Scott Schreiner.
I can't comment on that.
Is there anything?
Morning. How are you today?
How are you doing?
Good to see you guys. Yeah, she's all right. Thanks, guys.
Is there anything you can tell us about what happened yesterday?
No, not at all. I can't talk.
What do they think he's gonna say, right? They have to know that he's already talked to lawyers. He's not gonna say anything to incriminate himself or his wife. And legally, I don't think he'd want to, even if he didn't feel like he was going to incriminate himself. You don't want to speak without lawyers around, especially not to the press. I guess I'm technically press, so you can talk to me. We can be, I'll keep it cool, but I won't follow you around, Scott, while you're trying to walk your dogs. Is all I'm getting at. We can text about it if you want.
Okay, guys.
How do you feel being arrested for attempted murder, Sean?
You know what? I can't comment on that, you guys.
Is she doing? Have you talked to her?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And is she doing okay?
Have you talked to your wife? Of course. Obviously.
Did she recover?
Yeah, she's all right. Thanks for asking, you guys.
She badly injured?
See you guys.
Can you tell us anything else?
No, I cannot.
On Saturday,
How are you feeling? I know
See you at Coachella.
You'll still be at Coachella?
Yeah.
You'll still be there. All right. Well, thank you so much.
See you at Coachella. So Weezer still confirmed to play Coachella, and they did play Coachella. You know, a lot of people were giving him flack for still playing after what his wife's going through, but I think something to remember here is, you know, he's just one member of the band. Weezer signed a contract to play Coachella. They can't exactly back out last minute like that. I mean, this happened literal days before Coachella. So I guess Weezer could have found a replacement bassist for that show, possibly, but I don't know. He seemed pretty unbothered, right? I mean, I know that's a clip where he can't really say much. He's talking to TMZ, but he did seem pretty unbothered by the whole situation. And Weezer did go on to play Coachella. They actually performed a cover of Metallica's Enter Sandman, which is pretty cool. I shared it over my Instagram and TikTok if you want to see it. I did see some comments that say that they should have covered I Shot the Sheriff, which now that's in bad taste, okay? But yeah, like I'm saying, I don't think that Weezer was able to just, you know, back out. It wasn't just like some gig that they could just, you know, cancel last minute. Like Coachella is a pretty big deal. There's a lot of contracts in place. They would probably get sued if they did try to back out of it, even if, you know, even given what's going on with the current situation with his wife. So I don't think he really had a choice to play. The only option I could see is if maybe they would have gotten a bassist to sub in. But he went on to play. It was one of the highlights of Coachella, but there were a lot of lowlights. So we're going to find out, was Coachella a disaster? So Coachella went down this past weekend in Indio, California, like it always does. And a new Billboard report actually said that 60% of people who bought tickets to Coachella this year actually did a payment plan option. And I really hope there's some kind of follow-up report we get at some point to find out how many people ended up in collections because they wanted to, you know, hear Travis Scott off in the distance while they stood in line at a porta potty. I kind of want the wrap up to that. But yeah, people are sharing videos right away on day 0 before the festival even started, sharing photos and videos of just what it was like to get into the events, just get into the grounds. People were waiting for 12 plus hours. I mean, we got to go straight to the source on these videos here because I could tell you, I could read you stories that I've heard about Coachella, but we got to go straight to the source, you know? We got to get the TikTok influencers giving us their firsthand experience of Coachella, obviously.
Coachella, what the hell are you doing? We have been stuck in line for nearly 10 hours. We showed up here for camping at 3 in the morning and got in line. It's almost 1 p.m. right now. We still haven't even gone through security, and everyone around us has been here for just the same amount of time. It's 100 degrees outside. People's cars are overheating. They're running out of gas. There are no bathrooms anywhere.
Yeah, I saw people posting photos of cars that just have like signs on them that said when to go get gas. Like, hey, we're not abandoning the vehicle or anything. Don't try to tow this or destroy this vehicle. We went to get gas. Like, people were literally waiting in line to get into this festival for 12 hours and their cars are running out of gas, which does suck because it's not something you think about. Think about it. When you go to a show sometimes or you go anywhere, you're like, I got a quarter of a tank. I can make it there. I'll get gas on the way out. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to be late to Coachella. I'll get gas on the way out. And then they sat there for about 6 hours and realized quickly, the realization set in like, oh no, we're screwed. We're going to have to hoof it with a gas tank and come back and fill up our tank.
People are being denied access to. People who've been waiting there in their car for 10 plus hours. People have literally been using the bathroom behind bushes like animals, and they paid like over $600 to be here. This whole experience has been...
Well, I mean, going to the bathroom in the bushes isn't the worst thing you could do. I mean, going to the bathroom in your car, I feel like that would be a worse alternative. You know, at least you're out in Mother Nurture. You know, you get out there doing your business. Yeah, it's a little degrading for sure, especially if you spent $600 on a ticket. Here's someone else's update from the car line.
If you're coming to Coachella and you're camping and you haven't left your house, you are late. We have been in line for 20 minutes and we have moved maybe 100 feet. I'm going to show a screenshot of where we are and where the camping entrance is. This is insane. There's no porta potties. So if you need to use the restroom, grab some food, whatever it is, do that first. This is crazy. I'll keep you guys updated on.
Oh yeah, that's another good point. What if you didn't bring car snacks? You know, like what if you were trying to, you know, fast that day? You're like, I'll eat when I get to the festival. I'm not gonna, you know, bring a bunch of beef jerky with me in the car. You know, I'm just gonna. I'll fast it out. And then 12 hours later, you are very hungry. So not only are you out there in the bushes, pooping, peeing, but now you're foraging for berries. You know, you're trying to find some nourishment. You're out there. You might have to go find a babbling brook and fill up your canteen. This is some real life hard living out here in these Coachella lines. This is rough, man. So hopefully things got better when they got inside, right? Nope. That was a shit show too, according to reports. People were saying that there was no place to park. There was no place to put out their camping. Bathrooms were still scarce. Security was kind of a joke, I guess. And apparently this is the first year that Coachella has used this new security system, this new security team. Because Coachella's been around for quite a while now. You would think by this point, they would have their, they would have things figured out. This would be kind of like a rinse and repeat thing every year. So I don't know why there's all these problems this year, but a lot of people are putting the blame on the new security team they have. But another big issue that fans are pointing out, concert goers are attributing to being a disaster, is the food prices.
Okay, I'm starving, so let's come get nachos. The one thing I didn't want, no, tacos. The one thing I didn't want to do, and now I'm doing it. It's okay. So
Wait, why didn't you want to get nachos or tacos? I mean, that's delicious. You just don't. I mean, I guess if it's a hot day, maybe that's not what you want to eat. But
while I wait for the tacos, I got another. How much is it? $17. $17 lemonade.
$17 lemonade. But are those real lemons? I mean, you're in the desert, dude. Lemons are kind of hard to come by in the desert. I get it. $17 seems like a reasonable price for scarce lemons, but no, seriously, $17 for lemonade. That's
mostly ice, but it's so
that's
good.
mostly ice. Hey, but once the ice melts, second drink. When the ice melts, second drink.
$120-ish worth of food, guys.
So this was $102. To be fair, this does look pretty good. I mean, I'm sure it probably was not good, like she's saying, but also like you're not going to spend $102 on that meal and be able to give it a good rating. No matter how good it is, you're still going to be like, no, it was not $102 good though. Aside from the functionality of the festival, which seemed to be like a total disaster. And I do like that every time something like this happens, because let's be honest, most festivals are sort of like this. If you've been to any music festival in the last few years, they're not that bad, but there's always hella lines, super long lines. There's always overpriced food. There's always no place to be comfortable, essentially, for multiple days. So this isn't anything new. It's just kind of on a grander scale from Coachella, it looks like. But I do like that anytime something like this happens with a festival, it's automatically labeled as Firefest 2. Every single time a festival doesn't go the way people are hoping, it's Firefest. It's like, well, there's actually bands there. It actually happens, so you can't really call it Firefest. And also, they're trying to do Firefest 2. So at some point, we're going to have to change that joke and start calling it Firefest 3 or whatever. But aside from, again, the functionality of the festival, the bands and artists played, those all went off. They seemed to go off without a hitch. Benson Boone was joined by Brian May from Queen to do Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a fun sentence because it's kind of like an age detector test. You're either confused about who Benson Boone is or who Brian May is, depending on how old you are. Green Day played a set. The band Speed brought some hardcore. Yeah, everyone seemed to have a pretty good time. Everyone except for David. Got a video here of the singer D4 Vid. His name's David, but I like to call him D4 Vid because of the way it's spelled. But his name's David. Unfortunate situation here. Oh! Landed on his face. For anyone listening, not watching right now, D4 Vid attempted to do a backflip, runs up and face plants. Just all of his face. Just eats every bit of that stage. He runs up. He looks like he's going for a great backflip. And then just... The backflip looked like it was about to be epic. But you know what? You know what makes more news than doing a great backflip? Landing on your face. That's right. And he kept singing. He looks okay. So all is well. So Ghost released their new song, Lachryma. I looked it up. That is how you pronounce it. I wanted to make sure because, Ghost likes to use a lot of words that I'm not familiar with, with their song titles and album titles, but it's Lachryma, according to Google. I'm sure someone's going to correct me in the comments and say it's Lachryma or something like that. But for now, until I'm corrected, I'm going to say the new song is called Lachryma. And my Latin is a little rusty, but it loosely translates into tears, which makes sense because the lyrics, deal with crying. The opening riff kicks ass. Again, the chorus about crying, just very catchy overall. I really like this song. I'm a big Ghost fan to begin with, but this song really steps it up for me. I mean, it sounds like a song that could have been released in the 80s and sounds totally like would fit it right in the 80s, but it doesn't sound dated at the same time, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't sound like they're rehashing something from the 80s, but it also sounds like it's something that could fit in an 80s movie. I like it a lot, you know? I asked on Instagram at Jesse Lee what you guys thought of it, and here's some of the reactions I got. Alex Norris said the chorus of Lachryma is pretty boring, but the verses are great. I disagree with that. I think the chorus is pretty catchy. I think it's it didn't grab me the very first time I listened to it, I'll say. It took me, you know, probably the second listen before I was balls in. But again, yeah, I agree with you. The verse is great, and the like I said earlier, the intro guitar is fantastic. Matt said, "I would like to remain anonymous." Oops. I've never liked a ghost track until this new one. I do think this is a song that would kind of grab some new listeners. Mike Brown 96 on TikTok said, "I just can't buy into their sound with how they look. They should sound much heavier dressing like that." I think that's kind of the point. You know, they're supposed to look a little scary and crazy, but their music is just, you know, very catchy and radio friendly as well. Tobias kind of looks like a clown with that new mask. I think it's the nose. I assume you're talking about Tobias's nose, because that's, I believe, his real nose. I don't believe it's a prosthetic nose, but yeah, his new mask, it definitely, without the hats, you know, because when we first saw the new Papa 5 Perpetua, which is the alias of frontman Tobias Forge, I don't get into all the ghost lore, by the way. I don't follow a lot of the ghost lore, so I'm not going to dive deep in the weeds on that one. If you're looking for like a deep dive into ghost lore and ghost backstory, this is not the place for it. We're keeping it real superficial here. But when Papa 5, the new frontman, was debuted, which is just Tobias Forge and a new mask for everyone wondering. He had a hat on, you know, the almost looks like a Pope hat or something. And in the music video for Lachryma, he has no hat on. And yeah, his mask does look a little more clown-like without the hat. Shark on TikTok says, "Seeing his mouth wide open like that is freaking me out." Well, yeah, it does look, it's pretty jarring to see. And speaking of the music video, someone else who wants to remain anonymous said, the music video looks so cheap. Like the fits are amazing and look shiny and very cool, but the music video otherwise is giving broke. I think that's part of the point of the music video. I think it's supposed to look a little campy. I think it's supposed to look a little, like, I don't think it's supposed to look like a full music video production. I think it's supposed to look a little like almost like an 80s horror movie, possibly. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Either way, I like it. I think it's awesome. I think the video is great, and I think the song's awesome. A couple other releases I did want to touch on too was Turnstile released a brand new song called Never Enough. You know, the band made a big splash in 2021 with their album Glow On. They were on the cover of magazines. They were on late night talk shows, got nominated for Grammys, all that jazz. So they're back. They dropped the title track for the album Never Enough, which is the full album will be released on June 6th. We also got the song Smash It Like Belushi by Green Day off their upcoming deluxe version of their album Saviors. And I believe this song is a kind of a shot at the band Belushi Speedball. You know, that's a whole nother story to get into, but the band Belushi Speedball accused Green Day of ripping off their release strategy when Green Day released Dookie on some unconventional formats, which is the same way Belushi Speedball has released some of their albums in the past. And now, Green Day has released the song Smash It Like Belushi. So I don't know if that's a little knock at that band, but it sounds like it would be. And another one, my boys in Magnolia Park released their song Shadow Talk. I highly recommend going and check that out. And if you want to hear of all this week's new music, go check out my New Scene Sunday playlist. I have all the new songs that are released every week updated there. A few other quick news stories here. Some signed copies of Deftones merch popped up on eBay, which doesn't sound like it would be much of a story, but it was just last month that Chino Marino was stopped on the street and surrounded by autograph hounds. Like, they just came out of nowhere and started trying to get him to sign vinyl after vinyl, to the point where he got frustrated. He's like, "Listen, you could tell all your friends, all your little groups, I'm not signing this shit anymore. This is it. I'm done doing this, because I know what you're going to do. You're going to turn around and sell these albums and sell these, these signatures online." And that's exactly what happened. Right here, I'm seeing a signed copy of a Deftones album signed by Chino Marino going for $449. There's a signed guitar going for $1,500. A signed microphone going for $450. More vinyl. All these vinyls are $450 for a signed copy. I actually asked my Instagram followers if you would pay more for band merch if it was signed, and 75% of you said yeah, which was pretty crazy to me. I wasn't expecting that number. I mean, to me personally, I don't know. It doesn't really mean a lot having something signed by somebody. I just don't see a huge value in it. I think it's cool. It's cool that the person signed it, but it's not going to make me spend more money on it. If somebody signed something and gave it to me, I'd be very appreciative, of course. But I'm just not going to go out of my way to spend more money on something because it's signed. Because the thing is, what's cool about getting something signed is that you met the person and you got it signed. Like if you met the person that you idolize and they signed something for you, that's really cool because you can say, I met that person. I've got their signature. If you're buying it online, you know, what's the difference between the record that is not signed and the record that is signed as far as like your personal experience with it? Like you don't really gain anything about having a signature on that one. I mean, it's a cool collector's item. I'll give you that. It's a cool for the collectors out there. And if you want to turn around and sell it one day, you'll be able to maybe make some money off it. So those are the reasons I could see why I just personally would not ever pay any extra money for a signed copy of anything. Miller High Life has unveiled a beer-filled vinyl record called Dive Bar Sounds. It features original tracks that blend with authentic sounds of your favorite dive bar, and it blends them with the champagne of beers. So this sounds pretty cool. It's perfect for anyone that wants to listen to the sound of someone trying to cheat on their wife over a Fog Hat riff or something. This past week, I had Nothing More's Johnny Hawkins on the podcast, and he talked about their first tour with Sleep Token and how it was the worst tour of his life. It was just completely cursed. And he goes on to say that the tour was not bad because of the people on it. He actually had a great time, you know, hanging out and especially watching Sleep Token balloon up and become the massive band they were. But he said just the entire tour was cursed, people quitting, accidents, things breaking down, people getting hurt. So I've got that podcast, that whole episode of that interview up right now if you want to check it out. And the last little bit of news here, they sent Katy Perry into space.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1, ignition.
There she goes. It's been more than 60 years since a woman traveled into space without a man, and now 6 of them are blasting off from Earth. Pop star Katy Perry, author Lauren Sanchez, journalist and TV presenter Gayle King, civil rights activist Amanda Nugent.
Wait a minute!
Colonel, you better take a look at this radar. What is it, son? I don't know, sir. But it looks like a giant dick.
Like Katy Perry went to space and got back quicker than I could go to Chipotle and get a burrito. All right, let's get into some questions. I'm gonna dig through my DMs and burn through my comments. Gonna answer everything you wanna know. Grunge Daddy 59 on Instagram said, will you be at Rockville? First of all, Grunge Daddy, love the name. As your fellow music news daddy, I approve. I sadly do not think I will make it to Rockville this year. That's the one happening in Florida. I do plan on going to a few festivals this year, but I don't think Rockville is going to be one of them, unfortunately. Just timing-wise and travel-wise, I don't think it's going to work out this year. But if you do go to Rockville, which sounds like a badass time, please let me know. Please send me lots of videos and pictures. Tag me in them so I can live vicariously through you. Make me super jelly. Make me super peanut butter and jelly. Speaking of festivals, R Vargo 8 on Instagram said, what 3 bands are you most excited to see at Sonic Temple this year? That is a challenging question. Let's look at this lineup here. Like right off the rip, you got Metallica, who I've seen Metallica live, but it's still Metallica, baby. You gotta see Metallica. Bad Omens, who again I've seen live before, but you know they're a very cool band right now. I've got to see the new Linkin Park, the new version of Linkin Park. I've not gotten a chance to see that yet. I love Korn. 3 Days Grace with the return of Adam Gontier. Oh man, I mean even the small font bands are great. You got Silly Goose, my boys playing. From Ashes to News, Set It Off, Escape to Fate, just a ton of friends playing this. Ah, man. And I love the dudes in Asking Alexandria, Ice Nine Kills. This is a tough one. All right. Number 1, I'm going to say Linkin Park. I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack for that, but I have to see the new version of Linkin Park, of course. And I'm going to have to see Metallica. You can't go to a festival where Metallica's playing and not watch them. I think that's just, I think they take your metal jackets away from you. And you know what? My third one, I'm most excited to see Rob Zombie. Because I feel like if I can meet Rob Zombie, if I could get close to him and ask him to actually record a little intro to this Q&A, the dig through my DMs, the Dracula parody I do, I feel like if I can meet him, show him an episode of the podcast, make him sit down with me for about an hour and a half and really grill him, I think I could get him to record a real parody for me. So yeah, I'm going to throw Rob Zombie in the 3rd spot. And with that, we are out of time. Thank you so much for hanging out here on the show for this very hungover edition of the Jesse Lee Show. I plan on being a little more spry next week. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you would like to submit for me to answer next week, feel free to drop them below on YouTube in the comment section. There's also a comment section on Spotify where you can leave your questions there or hot takes, any opinions, anything you want me. If you just want me to say your name, next week in next week's episode, I can do that too. Do all that. And while you're there, while you're on YouTube, go ahead and bang your head on that subscribe button. While you're on Spotify and Apple Music, go ahead and bang your head on those follow buttons, okay? Make sure you get updated each and every week when I drop a new episode or I drop any kind of music news. You want to do that. You can also find me at Jesse Lee on TikTok and Instagram, at Jesse Lee Show on X. And above all else, make sure to share this episode with someone that doesn't suck, all right? Take it easy now, and bye-bye.